beats a snake. It makes sense the snake chose the wrong opponent. Mongoose are known for their lightning-fast reactions, agility and developed skills that enable them to hunt venomous snakes purposefully. Can anticipate the direction of a snake's attack by observing its body position. Moreover, it can twist in midair to avoid meeting the reptile fangs by just a hair's breadth to sink its sharp teeth directly into the snake's neck or another vulnerable part. Not every mongoose snake encounter ends with the mammal's victory, but when a mongoose returns to its den with a cobra in its jaws, this isn't actually surprising at all. What truly shocking is when a venomous snake is defeated by an insect. Despite being in vastly different weight classes, the reptile should dispatch any insect as easily as a seasoned bull would deal with the timid little jackal. The snake is about 50 times heavier and is armed with jaws. One bite for the insect works like the ultimate skill of your favorite though hero. The enemy stands no chance except to. When a snake is facing a praying mantis, this is the only insect that can defeat this reptile. Furthermore, it even hunts and attacks snakes first. This snake isn't the largest ever, but for a mantis to attack it is like if you try taking on a polar bear and win with your bare hands. This is a real feat. The insect uses camouflage in its sight life for limbs. The snake moves peacefully in search of food. It's quite young, so it preys on insects actively. So after, however, this encounter will not be pleasant for the snake. When the snake is within striking distance, the mantis literally shoots its limbs and grabs the opponent in a way that the snake can neither escape nor use its jaws. Once again, the absence of limbs becomes a disadvantage for the snake. However, occasionally praying mantises also hunt small lizards, so the success of the insect is hardly due to the lack of the opponent's paws, more about the tremendous strength of their gripping limbs. The mantis, venomous but armed with powerful jaws, finishes off its prey. Scientists agree that dinosaurs didn't really go extinct. Not all of them, at least most species did vanish from the face of the earth about 65 to 62 million years ago, but not really without a trace, since the direct descendants of dinosaurs are our birds. Yeah, you heard me correctly. The swan that impresses you with its beauty during your last park stroll is in fact a distant relative of the Tyrannosaurus, a very, very distant relative, but some birds clearly retained much more from their formidable ancestors than meets the eye. You'll be shocked, but it's not eagles or falcons, it's chickens. Don't believe me? Well, this snake also thought it was facing a defenseless little bird, but in the chest of this chicken beats the heart of an ancient monster, and for the protection of its offspring the chicken demonstrated this just a moment ago. It was peacefully roaming the yard, but when it noticed the cobra, the chicken underwent a transformation that would scare in the Incredible Hulk. The chicken raised its feathers and went on. The infant of first it attacked the snake and with its feet into beak. This shows the bravery of the feathered warrior, as the swift snake could have bitten the opponent's neck, but no strike found its mark and the bird managed to fend off its checks. If you think this story is unique, then you would be mistaken. In distant villages of Southeast Asia, domestic fowl often have defend for themselves against attacks from the most formidable venomous reptiles. Even if the snake has the advantage of battle terrain, it doesn't guarantee victory over the apparently mundane chicken. Just like in this scenario, when a giant cobra slithered into the coop, the chicken found itself in a tight corner, nowhere to run, almost no room for maneuvering, but it has a dozen chicks depending on it. For the chicken, this is enough motive to morph from a non-violent egg layer into the Terminator. Pay attention to this fight mastery. If there were hand-to-hand combat classes for birds, this chicken would be the instructor. Every move is calculated. The by-road uses its feathers to distract the snake and appear larger. It skillfully keeps the chicks away from the predator while continuously attacking again and again. Most of the blows are delivered by the bird's strong legs. Its claws might not be as big as a falcon's, but they are sharp and the strikes deal devastating damage to the snake. The cobra's in shock. One of its bites could stop not only a horse's heart but an elephant's. However, the chicken doesn't give it a chance to inject its venom. It attacks from unexpected angles, swoops low to be on the other side, and keeps on pecking. The chicken's beak poses as much threat to the snake as its claws. Initially, the snake crawls like a hunter low to the ground, but meeting such resistance it spreads its hood. This means that the cobra has switched to defense mode, but it's too late. It's not the chicken that fell into a trap in a tight corner here, it's the snake now facing an impossible situation. A bit more and the chicken will simply peck it to Death a disgrace for such a formidable predator. In the end the bird successfully defended its offspring. A single chicken can successfully fend off even multiple snakes. This battle turned into a veritable siege where the chicken became a living fortress for its chicks. Such loyalty to offspring is pretty admirable, wouldn't you agree? To be fair, it's worth noting that not only chickens are capable of such feats in defense of their offspring, this turkey as well has clearly mastered self-defense tactics for birds. Just look at how adeptly it handles the snake. The key is having a family behind the fighter that can cover it and if necessary help defeat the venomous reptile. The bird, not of the most excellent size, but its long sharp beak is powerful enough to deliver fatal hitting the reptile. Primarily because of the accuracy of the turkey using it, one gets an impression that this cat was determined to give good fight to the birds. It managed to get enough early warning of a deadly foe to move back and jump out of the box. In any case, the cat resorted to fight. Perhaps her kittens are in there and neither time nor opportunity exists to move them. Surprisingly, the cat opted for the only correct tactic to minimize the risk of getting bitten. She laid a real siege and used the box's walls to block the snake's path. Then with powerful claw strikes the cat knocked the snake down. The cat's blows were so swift that the snake had no chance to catch her with its venomous fangs. It seems that during the paw strike it turned into a blurred spot. It's impossible to properly see it without slow motion. In the end this mother managed to save her little ones. If you want to see other cases where parents committed true feats for their offspring, then don't forget to write about it in the comment section underneath this video. Bald eagles are one of the best warriors among all birds. They are not only very strong but also like to fight with other clawed birds. Eagles are aggressive, bold, violently pounce on competitors, and it seems sometimes they do not need to reason at all to attack another predator. It would seem that such a mighty and brave bird can feel safe anywhere. Moreover, in its own huge nest arranged so high on the top of the tree that it is even difficult to get up there. But the bald eagle clearly underestimated its enemy, the huge owl. This nocturnal predator is so brave and desperate that it can be the first to attack an eagle right at home. Perhaps this is a revenge. Day and night birds of prey are direct rivals, so they often attack each other. Judging by the behavior of the owl, this eagle clearly caused her some problems. How also you supposed to explain the purposefulness and aggression with which the owl searches for and properly attacks the enemy? The bald eagle has excellent fighting skills with other birds of prey. Even without acceleration and without using flight, few eagles are able to fight so coolly using only their claws and beak, except if the eagle didn't know who he was messing with. Although a daytime predator can spot prey at an altitude of several miles, see the reflections of fish scales in the glare of the water, react to any enemy movement with lightning speed. All these superpowers disappear in the dark because the eagle's eyes have no night vision mode at all. According to some reports, this bird, oddly enough, at night he sees worse than a man. That's when the owl's finest tower begins. She attacks the eagle and easily dodges its retaliatory attacks, which the bird is forced to carry out almost blindly. But the owl perfectly sees the weak points of the enemy, knows where to hit it, and mercilessly attacks its enemy. As a result, the owl just threw the eagle out of its own nest. If the eagle had not managed to catch its claws on the lower branches at the very last moment, it would have collapsed to the ground. This time the owls are already defending their home from the invasion of one of the daytime predators. This falcon flew into the nest, not understanding who it was dealing with. Not only that, even one owl can give him a serious rebuttal. So there were also two of them. Breaking into their home was a huge mistake. The most curious thing is how the birds behaved. The owls attacked the enemy ruthlessly and aggressively, but at the same time they acted very carefully so as not to damage the chicks, not to allow the enemy to injure themselves, and not to touch each other. It's pretty smart, isn't it? But that's not all. Pay attention that most of the time the owls just kept the against. However, the insurgent, they tightened the prideful of the occupying at the fence with insufferable squeeze by its paws. Cautious, it hurts, but nonetheless attacks of an owl alternates with realistic scare. Just see for yourself how offended the falcon is. Did not expect them, having reduced to the powerless chicks of the enemy, getting both adults, two enemies, and even a cramped space there. No mind from the time that a day predators. The squeezing capacity of the birds owls is impressive for their sickle-shaped claws. Although inferior to the weapons of some golden eagles are still stronger and sharper than that of this falcon. It's hard to say what exactly was the main motivation of the owls, but it seems that they are mocking its enemy, intimidating him and deliberately bringing him to the hysteria so that he remembers this for the rest of his life. Breaking into someone else's home is a very bad idea. Interestingly enough, after enjoying the helplessness of the enemy, his fear and defeat, the owls let him go, and as a result all the birds remain alive. But the falcon will never forget this lesson. Any top of the coolest fighters of the animal world will be incomplete without not a lion and not a bear, but of course these are brave fighters. They fight with other predators and can single-handedly attack herbivores 3 to 4 times larger than themselves. It seems who could be cooler? The answer is the goose. Just look at how this bird, weighing as much as a domestic cat, chases a gorilla which is about 15 times more massive. The huge primate wandered around his enclosure like the owner of the ground, solidly, calmly and confidently. It seems that he is trying to assert himself when he wants to drive away a goose that has accidentally flown, and this was a big mistake. The bird reacts instantly. It perceives any sideways glance in its direction as an invitation to a fight, and this is a real holiday for the goose. The bird does not care how huge and strong the opponent is. It attacks by spreading its wings into making a frightening H.S.N.T.H. gorilla is shocked by such courage. It could have just crushed the bird with one crashing blow of its fist, but instead the primate runs away in panic, and the goose is not happy. It wants to fight, and it chases the helpless giant monkey, which on its own can give battle to any heavy predator, just not an ordinary goose who doesn't even take the enemy seriously and mocks him. The goose doesn't run away, doesn't try to be higher than the enemy. He's attacking him right from the ground. After such humiliation, the role of the leader of the gorilla clan does not shine on this primate. If you think this is the only such case, you are mistaken. Here a goose attack an entire herd of all. The weight of each individual cow is approaching half a ton, but although the enemy is almost 100 times larger, more massive and almost invulnerable to goose attacks, he gives in the brave bird. The funniest thing is how cows try to collide with the bird without to try, up to the point that is they only touch the goose by their heads, do not step it, do not run into it, otherwise they would see that the resistance of the feathered antagonist is not very difficult to destroy, but instead of strong measures cows make to step on the place. Here one of them plays with pretension, charging at the foe, but when the goose does not flare up the cow immediately, it retreats. Not clear if the goose has worked out the bluff of his opponents or he is indeed as cool as the rock. What do you think? Just to look at how the cows are trampling and causing clouds of dust, while the goose behaves calmly and instantly attacks as soon as he sees that his enemies are emboldened and the elates are near panic. Goose bites are painful but cannot pose a threat to the life or health of such large creatures. They do not understand their advantage and are afraid of a much less powerful animal only because it demonstrates reinforced concrete confidence in its abilities. Have you ever experienced similar cases, but already in communication with people, when self-confidence saved you in seemingly hopeless situations? If yes, then share your story in the comments. When they talk about the most dangerous and cool birds, they usually mean eagles, falcons, and sometimes owls. Of course, this is logical. Powerful curved claws and beaks are really able to cope with serious prey. Eagles can hunt large elk like mountain sheep. Falcons accelerate to the speed of a bullet and with one blow can break the victim's neck even if it is twice as large as the predator. Owls are able to fly silently, so at night their hunting for helpless prey is more like a trip to the supermarket where a feathered predator just gathers food that cannot fight back. But there are other great birds that are underestimated in vain. For instance, heron. These shorebirds live on different continents and have become very successful predators in their habitat. They prepare to settle closer to reservoirs, although most of them do not have the habit of swimming water for a long time like ducks or geese. Heron feel great in shallow water as well as at shallow depths. With strong clawed legs, they also have mighty wings, allowing herons to take off almost instantly if necessary. They are thin-legged with an elongated neck, beautiful plumage that casts a blue long straight beak. In general, it seems that these birds are just part of the swamp FWN, which are capable of catching a maximum of large frogs, and it's not like that many animals underestimate the blue heron and pay the highest price for its mistake. For example, this eagle tried to take away a prey from a heron, a newly caught fish, fish another bird at the mere appearance of a large daytime predator would immediately retreat, but not a heron. It immediately rebuffed the eagle. It spread its huge wings and the heron attacked the robber and almost deprives him of its size. In general, the main weapon of the heron is its sharp straight beak, which acts like a sword. The bird twists its neck and then abruptly straightens it and directs a fairly strong blow at the target. All its power is concentrated on the tip, which makes the penetrating force of the heron's beak greater than the force of the beak of a large eagle. In addition, experience also plays a big role. Herons hunt agile and fast prey. For example, they punch swimming fish with their beak, grab fast amphibians and reptiles, so it is not surprising that this large bird can, for example, instantly deal with an adult duck. For her, the heron was just another neighbor that the duck inadvertently let get too close. The result is that the heron inflicted critical damage to the victim in a couple of blows and is already preparing to swallow such a satisfying prey. Herons also hunt dangerous and large reptiles like venomous snakes that live in swamps and near the shores of reservoirs. A variety of vipers can be a severe threat because the venom of such a snake is a sure heart attack for the bird, but these reptiles clearly miscalculated the speed of the impact of the heron's beak. Interestingly enough, the way the bird attacks the enemy is quite similarly to the attack of the snakes themselves. Before throwing, you need to twist your neck to accumulate maximum energy in the muscles and shoot the main weapon forward. As you can see, the speed of the beak shot from a heron is often higher than the speed of a snake's throw. The duels between two herons also looks brutal. Two elegant birds try to keep their balance with the help of their wings and exchange crushing stabbing blows with their beaks, crowd each other and violently attack. For such duels, they often choose places with a shaky and unstable surface, for example viscous mud on the shore, a tangle of thin branches of bushes, shallow water. Every bird wants to take advantage of the place 100%, so it tries to throw the enemy off the branches, make him get bogged down in a swamp or even drown. After a powerful stabbing blow, the heron can bite the enemy. The strength of the bird's grip is unexpectedly greater, and most importantly, such a bite causes terrible pain to the victim. In addition, heron during a flight with their own kind often fly up to a low altitude to exchange sharp, quick blows of their claws. The claws, although short, are sharp, and most importantly, the heron's legs are very strong, so each hit on the enemy is like a blow with a small hammer. But such duels not only allow the birds to find out who will defend this or that reservoir, but also to train their fighting skills. Long observations have shown that the heron menu is one of the most diverse among birds, although most of the time they leisurely walk through shallow water in search of fish and other animals in the water. This is just a way to lull the attention of potential prey. What kind of prey? Yeah, any kind of heron can attack anything that moves, so long as the prey can be swallowed whole. Rodents often do not see a serious threat in a bird slowly wandering through the swamp into the heron catches and eats rats, mice and other small animals without any problems. For example, a heron can ruin a rabbit, and these little fuzzy creatures look so cute, don't they? But not for the heron, in the opinion of this feathered omnivorous monster. Small rabbits are more of an appetizing snack than good-natured neighbors in their habitat. If there is already a cat in the house and the owners also have a bird, of course there are concerns whether such pets will be able to get along, or will the cat just look at the parrot just as prey. Well, as you can see, this little predator has clearly messed with the wrong bird. The parrot opens up the box and honestly just wants to meet her and make friends with the cat, and when he gets hit on the beak he closes the box. It's simple. A large parrot is a strong and intelligent enough bird to take care of itself. Moreover, the way they show cats that it is better not to conflict with them looks pretty funny here. The acquaintance clearly did not work out. The cat almost knocked the parrot off the sofa with a couple of heavy blows, but instead of trying to hide from the predator with the help of its wings, the parrot goes into close combat. He attacks the offender himself and shows the cat that he demands respect for himself. But the coolest of all, of course, is this parrot. He decided to establish contact with his neighbors not by force but thanks to his communication skills. Although this parrot is quite large and can even be dangerous for one cat due to its large and powerful beak, here the numerical advantage is not on the side of the feathered ones. It understands this and apparently is trying to negotiate. The cats are shocked. Interestingly enough, according to some sources, meowing is not at all the native language of cats that purr or hiss in the wild, and they just learned to meow just for us to attract our attention. It turns out that the parrot copies sounds intended for human to communicate with animals with their help, of course. The parrot is unaware of the confusion that it caused and just uses its talent for an automata to avoid conflict. But can you just imagine how shocked those cats were? But the unexpected move brought its results. They did not even bother to try to attack the parrot and just sit there with some kind of admiration on their faces, as it looks like a bit more of this and they will be embracing the feathered one to their family.